Welcome to the Literature Section. We have at the beginning of every one of these Hatecasts. Now, in this episode, I am joined by Ed. One of his favorite subjects as of late has been anti-aging, and it's something that he's been doing a little bit of writing on the side. So he kind of wanted me to ask the question to you guys if you would like to hear the pharmacological side of anti-aging, growth hormone, other stuff, IGF-1, stuff like that. So if that is an episode that you guys would like to hear, I know we keep putting off the gear talk, which we will eventually get to it, trust me. I know I've heard the request over and over and over again. I'm just trying to get Jamie and I's schedule lined up and kind of a show notes to kind of get that together. But stuff on the anti-aging end, I think Ed would make for a killer podcast for you guys. But in this episode, none of that. It has to do with anti-aging and all that jazz, just in general. We also go over a little bit on the subject of training over 40. We go into that a little bit, and we give our opinions on that. And yeah, it made for a really good episode. I'm actually really pleased with the way this one came out. Also, if you guys are interested, the next episode, and I promised I'd do these call-outs, so I'm doing them. The next episode will be with Ryan Skelly, I believe, and then the episode after that will be, again, with Jamie Lewis, and we're going to have that one be a Q&A, and then the episode, so not the next episode, and not the episode after that, but the episode after that will be our revisit on the incel no-fap movement. So, really big things to look forward to. 2019 is certainly going to be our year. And, yeah, I appreciate everyone following along. Also, subscribe if you can, because at 2,000 subscribers, okay, we're almost there. We're 2 subscribers away. If we can get 2,000 subscribers, I've gotten the okay to do a giveaway on this YouTube channel. So, if you're not following our Facebook page, you need to do that so that if the giveaway happens over there, you can kind of do that. Because I think we're going to do a mass giveaway on all our different platforms. So I'll find out more information about that in the next episode so that we can kind of plan things out, so I can let you guys and give you guys a chance to win like I know I would want, like I used to when I entered in to win free things from supplement companies before. Anywho's, that's been a long-winded discussion. So, why don't I just go ahead and flash the sale up here to save you some time. And with that done, just to clarify, the mix match BOGO on Chemical 1 will be, you can add 1 Chemical 1 and then add 1 Chemical X. One of them should equal out free, just so that we don't have any confusion. Anyway, guys, enjoy the show as much as I enjoy this. It's friggin' awesome. Welcome to the Hatecast. That was weird. Not going to do that again. Actually, I will. Don't worry about it. So, this is your host, Bryce Allen, and today I'm joined by Ed Shanks. No, I haven't seen Big Trouble in Little China just yet. It was actually on the docket today because we were supposed to record tomorrow, and I was going to say, hey, I've seen it. And then excuses.
I'm eating eggs.
So, eggs for Ed. Ed is an egghead. So, speaking of eggs and the benefits they have, this will be the anti-aging roundtable discussion. So,
anti-aging.
So, let's talk a little bit about that. First and foremost, what are some of the signs of aging you want to fight for whatever reason? What is the reasoning to fight aging to begin with?
So you don't become decrepit and useless to society. So let's see. So you can still lift heavy things. so you can still take your shirt off at the beach and not be embarrassed,
Right.
so that you can walk around on your own will without having to be pushed in a wheelchair. But I mean, hey, if that's your thing, then
That
that's your
seems
thing.
fun,
you know?
though.
It's not, man, because when you sit on those wheelchairs for a while, your butt like just starts to hurt, and it's not comfortable. It's not comfortable. Like when I had my neck surgery, they put me in a wheelchair because they have to, whatever. But
Right.
like, I just got up and walked out of the hospital. And then when they got
Not having it.
outside, yeah, not having it. When I got outside and I was waiting for the valet to bring my car, yes, the hospital I went to had a valet. I actually just kind of sat down back in the wheelchair when I was waiting. But other than that, wheelchairs aren't really fun.
Okay.
And to live longer so that you can play with your grandkids and your great-grandchildren.
All the little things people take for granted. So
They do. They do.
let's go ahead and bring up a few points right now.
Yes.
So to fight anti-aging, what are the main things that we want to look out for? So oxidative stress to be up front. So oxidative stress is a big one.
That's the number one thing, because what that does is causes an imbalance in the electrons of your healthy cells in your body, and that causes the free radicals cause damage and mutations to your DNA, which leads to issues when your DNA copies itself from the RNA, and then you end up getting wrinkly skin, cancer, all the other fun things of aging, liver spots, all of that good stuff.
Not only that, but you have certain limits on how much damage. Yeah, this is a little bit controversial. This has to do with from what I've been reading and from what I understand, what I interpret the science to be. There's almost a finite amount of damage that your liver can take, or your heart can take. There's that whole theory behind there being a certain amount of beats that your heart will beat until it stops, right? Is there any so the liver stuff we can kind of mitigate, right?
Yeah.
We can eat a diet that's high in antioxidants. We can eat things that are healthy for our liver, like onions. Has benefits. Even products that we actually don't sell. Tudka is a very beneficial product for liver health. It's actually seen in alcoholics to reduce or to reverse liver damage, which is significant.
It also protects the other organs of your body as well too, such as your kidneys. That's why most people do sell it as a liver detoxifier, healer, whatever you want to call it. But it actually helps multiple different organs in your body.
Right.
I think FN supplements, I think, has a Tudka.
Maybe. But that's something that you can do to kind of help the liver. Something we can do to help the brain. See, I'd like to talk a little bit about that because brain. The brain has oxidative stress that it gets damaged by. Yes. But it also, if you don't use it, you'll lose it.
Exactly.
Specifically a gray matter. So what would be some things, first and foremost, that you have kind of stumbled upon for brain health? Right?
Well, there's a ton of stuff, Now, the number one thing is, like you said, to use it. So reading, working out, problem solving, stuff like that, does make a huge difference. And the whole idea with the brain plasticity and how your neuro connections, you're constantly growing them, and they can actually change depending upon the stimuli that you are exposed to. As far as the health side of things, one of the main things you can do is have lower blood pressure, and lower cholesterol and lower any kind of arterial issues, because what happens is the blood vessels can be damaged, and if they're damaged, then they limit the amount of oxygen and stuff that you have to your brain, and that causes a whole host of problems.
Right. And some things that can help with cerebral blood flow is stuff like blueberries. Right?
Those are, dude, blueberries are, let me, stop me for a second here, or let me stop you. Blueberries have been clinically proven to increase the blood flow to gray matter on an active CT scan. That's huge. Like, if you don't know what an active CT scan is basically, it's a scan that's, active MRI, not CT, MRI, which is even crazier. Because usually you have to be, completely still, and MRI just takes an image. But what it does is it actually records the difference in blood flow after you've taken the blueberries.
Right.
Pretty cool.
And how much of an improvement was that? Do you know off the top of your head?
I don't know off the top of my head. They love to use the term significantly, a significant difference or significant improvement.
Means,
there's a difference,
right.
Basically. Enough that they saw other cognitive benefits in memory recall and, just attention span and focus, as well, too, after taking blueberry supplements for 8 to 12 weeks. But I mean, the actual gray matter increase in blood flow was documented within, a short amount of time after the patients were administered the blueberry, or participants were administered the blueberry. So it has an immediate effect.
And something you can also do for brain health is eat a high-fat diet.
Yes.
Because fat's literally what your brain is made out of.
DHA.
And omega-3 fats have been shown to improve certain functions of the brain, all that, yada, yada, yada.
Oh, something else that you'd love, too. Video game play. But only 30 minutes. Only 30 minutes, though, they say.
Well, we'll talk about that later. I might play a little bit more than 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. But something I've also been interested in, and now I'm currently in the middle of researching this, because when it comes to brain function and everything like that, there's so many things that specifically brain function improve brain function, right? For example, the eggs you're eating, right? Choline improves brain function, all that jazz. But something a little bit more interesting and more it's got me down a rabbit hole right now, is actually smelling things seems to increase brain health as well. For example,
it does.
Cinnamon is something that everybody should be, if you do not have access to cinnamon, like readily, just, light some cinnamon candles or some cinnamon smelling things. Seems to really improve critical thinking skills and thinking on your feet and all that jazz.
What about peppermint?
Peppermint as well.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's why, and something I've been personally researching is like aromatherapy and stuff like that, because it's something that you can do that's kind of passive, right? Mm-hmm. So it's something you can have. For example, those little diffusers are now cheap as they've ever been, right? Mm-hmm. You can buy a diffuser on Amazon for like $19. You can put some essential oils or something like that, like some lavender or something like that. I know it's a little girly, it smells a little frou-frou, but if it's something I can have setting there on my desk, awesome. Without me even thinking about the benefits that it's giving me, that's invaluable to me. And it's also something that can help fight aging, because it'll help your blood flow of your brain and help your critical thinking and all that jazz.
Well, remember, a lot of people don't realize this, but your brain controls your body. So if you don't have brain health, the rest of your body is not going to be healthy. I mean, look at Alzheimer's patients. There's a reason why, once diagnosed, they die usually within 2 years. It's 2 to 8 years, but severe cases, it can be, a lot faster. The reason is because their brains quit working and quit telling the body what to do.
Yeah, and something else too is people who are over the age of 60, right, who get diagnosed with having dementia. So the symptom we were talking about in the earlier anti-aging ramble. People who are dosed or are diagnosed with dementia are now pretty much told they have Alzheimer's because it's what leads the symptom and the disease actually are hand in hand when people are over 65 or something like that.
Remember, Alzheimer's is a type of dementia.
Right.
And if you're over 60, then more than likely your dementia is not caused by, some kind of chemical imbalance from when you were a kid or onset of in the 20s.
Or self-induced chemical imbalance.
Or self-induced chemical.
Somebody
or
been drinking a little too hard on the weekends.
Or trauma like from hitting your head repeatedly over and over and over again against hard obstacles like, I don't know, I love it, but football, for example,
Or a headboard if you were active in your 20s. So...
Oh, like Bruce Lee?
Not exactly like Bruce Lee.
Jean-Claude Van Damme?
I was referring to people that were...
Drinking?
A little bit adult. Yeah, no.
Like college, like, hey, I just got home from this awesome party and I'm going to put my head through a wall. Yeah, I've seen that happen a couple times.
Oh, yeah. No. Or that one girl who had college experience, the full college experience. But...
Oh, I like that. I thought you were going to say something like, Purple Jesus.
Oh, no. But, so your brain is just one facet of this. So let's move on to the heart. So
yes.
The heart's kind of interesting in the fact that it's a muscle and you can kind of do things to improve it via physical activity. So cardio is not called cardio because reasons, right? It's because it heavily involves use of your heart.
Your heart.
So things that you can do to improve cardiovascular health are things like cardio. It's also things like heavy resistance training.
Yep.
So you will get some of the same benefits from resistance training as you would traditional cardio.
Yes.
In fact, more and more doctors are actually suggesting people in their 60s start doing some sort of resistance training and 50s and everything to get stronger for when they're, in their 70s and 80s because it leads to less death, less, what is it called?
Decrepitness?
Sudden death. So things like accidents. Well, decrepitness, of course, but things like accidents,
falling down,
slipping, and not being able to catch yourself.
Dude, you know what the number one question, they always ask me when I go to get, my neck checked or anything?
What's that?
Have you fallen in the last 90 days?
Have you?
No.
Okay.
I mean, if I did, it was on purpose. I was diving into, a tumble roll or something. It wasn't like I was just walking in. The only time I remember not playing sports, okay, because that doesn't really count. The only time I can remember falling down that wasn't related to sports was when we got about 22 inches of snow in Chapel Hill when I was a sophomore. And about a week later, the whole school was shut down for a week. It was pretty awesome. I mean, dude, we had, snowball fights in the pit and stuff. Just random snowballs, flying through the air, just nailing people in the side of the head. It was amazing. But anyways,
yeah,
the only
get
time
some
I fell
CTEs
down was,
going on.
Yeah, it was when I was walking to the bars, on Franklin Street. I mean, that's what you do on Franklin Street after 8 o'clock. Well, 9 o'clock. You said. Anyways, there was a sheet of ice, and I was walking across it, and just boom, right in my back, and completely took my breath away. I was like, oh! It was pretty awesome. Because then I got up and I just started went to the next bar and just, I'm in pain, so let me drink 5 beers while I'm here.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
But, I mean, so cardiovascular health is important, not only for your longevity, but also your quality of life later on, Because if you do things that increase your cardiovascular health, you're usually going to increase your health of your lungs and stuff like that. Because lung function is sometimes something that goes too when people get older. You ever seen those people that are, reasonably fit and they're just wheezing going upstairs? Or you think they're fit because they're skinny, because skinny and fit don't mean the same thing. So anyway, there's a bunch of things that you can do. Let's talk more about what you can do specifically. Like what have you noticed are specific things that you can do to help aging?
Specific thing. Well, number one, working out I think is the best thing you can do because the growth hormone your body releases.
Right.
Now we're not talking excessive working out because when you excessively work out and you take it beyond that threshold, then you can actually do more oxidative damage because of the increased metabolic functions of the body. Your body requires more oxygen, and oxygen is the number one worst free radical causing agent that there is. So pretty much damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Right.
Yeah. So number one is working out resistance training specifically, because when you activate the muscles and mTOR and all that good stuff, then you're going to help your body release the hormones necessary to regenerate properly and faster. Number two, drink plenty of water, a ton of water, because water helps flush out the body. It keeps the blood hydrated. It does a ton of different things, and it really helps also with the kidneys as well too. Number three, eat high fat diet or low carb diet. When you're doing that, you keep your insulin spikes from going crazy up and down and through the roof, and that causes more oxidative damage to your whole entire body. Plus, it can lead to blood vessel damage and heart failure and all that awesomeness stuff, And then number 3 or 4 is Four Horsemen. Woo!
Woo Nation.
What do you know about Arn Anderson, buddy? What do you know about Lex Luger?
Not much.
You don't know much. That's the torture rack. You don't know anything about Bryce.
Hey,
anyway,
I'm 28.
Excuses. Or that's all I hear coming out of your mouth.
Sir.
So anyways, go watch Big Trouble in Little China. They can drink again. I used to bench 535 for 3 times. That's 2 right there. So anyways.
Hold on, I used to be 430 pounds.
Oh, that's 3 in a row. 3. Okay. So number...
Yeah. You're binge drinking at this point.
Yeah, you pretty much been... Just keep on taking it down, Big Trouble in Little China. Just keep doing it. Okay. So number 4, I think, is supplementing with good antioxidants. And there is some research that says you don't want to go overboard because it can cause some damage. Because here's the funny thing: your body needs the oxidative damage for other processes to take place.
A little bit of an aside here. It's interesting you mentioned that because we have this obsession with cortisol in the fitness industry, and why cortisol is just so bad and it's going to kill you, and it's just don't have any cortisol. Now, you need cortisol. Actually, if you look at what cortisol does in the body in the morning, specifically when cortisol is very, very high, right? You have this cortisol spike, which says, shit, it's time to get up. Like it starts all the processes and the things happening and all that jazz. So it's very important for you to let that cortisol spike happen in the morning, right? Because if your cortisol is way too high, right, that is something that is an actual medical issue. That is something you need to go to the doctor. In fact, seriously, some people with cortisol issues end up finding out that they need to be on TRT because their cortisol is so drastically high that it's eating through the muscle tissue, which is where people, kind of draw the conclusions that cortisol is bad for muscle and all that jazz, right? Even the cortisol we get from training is important. It has its uses. So do not fuck with cortisol too much, please, you will end up setting yourself back both in the gym, and you might even feel like shit during the day and all that jazz. So that's why I actually wait, 45 minutes to an hour before eating my first meal, so cortisol has its time to do what it needs to do. And then my first meal is actually a low-carbish meal with lots of greens and a protein source that's high in choline, like chicken or eggs or something like that.
Yeah, and so all the people that are uneducated out there, the reason why he's waiting 45 minutes after he eats breakfast is because insulin blunts cortisol. And how do you get insulin? By eating carbohydrates and food.
There you go.
Thought? Oh my gosh. Whoa.
And I know it's completely un-American to completely suggest get rid of the hash browns, get rid of the pancakes, get rid of all this high-carb food. It probably makes some people hate me even more than they already do. But it does have its purpose, This whole and we can kind of, this is an aside, I know, and even further aside, something that people don't realize is there was the perfect breakfast seems to be somewhere along the lines of an actual full English breakfast. You have breakfast with high quality, high amounts of fat. You have high protein and somewhat lower end of carbohydrates. You have a medium-ish carbohydrates in a full English breakfast. So it's kind of weird that Americans have this, breakfast cereal and then pour the syrup on the pancakes, which is you have 200 grams of carbs in your breakfast. And then people feel tired after their breakfast and they're like, oh, why is this happening? Well, because you just overloaded yourself with this gigantic insulin spike and you have this gigantic crash. So there's my rant. But anyway, so back on to the antioxidants and including those. So you don't want to have too much, right? Because that could be very unbeneficial.
Well, two things. Basically, your body is reactionary, so it responds to stuff that happens. That's why you don't want to get rid of cortisol completely, and that's why, for example, if you take certain test boosters, what they're doing is they're causing an increase in LH, luteinizing hormone, which then causes your body to respond by increasing testosterone, just like the way that Clomid works.
Right.
For example.
Which is why it's used for hormone or reproductive health, right? So some people get on clomidophen or HCG. They get on it to produce testosterone again naturally instead of actually replacing the hormones, right? Because that's the first step your doctor, when you're going in for TRT, that's the first step he'll probably try you on, is he'll try and restart everything, get everything working again. And if that fails, that's when you go on TRT. Usually.
Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. Just go straight for the testosterone cypionate.
Especially if you already have kids.
Yeah, just go. Dude, I know plenty of bodybuilders who were on cycle and ended up getting their wives pregnant.
It happens, but it's not common. So
no, it's not. I know other people that have had to take so much EC or EG or whatever HCG.
Right.
Big Trouble in Little China, HCG. That
it'll be fine.
It caused some major discomfort in the old nether regions.
Hell yeah. Guess what? You're gonna feel like your testicles are gonna explode.
Things are blue. Definitely.
That'll be fine. But back to the there's a
question.
There's a reactionary. Your body's reactionary. So just like if your doctor goes and tests your reflexes and your knee kind of kicks back, right? That's exactly the same thing that happens when it comes to playing with things on the inside. So let's go in deeper into that. So, what happens if you have too much? What happens if you just get too many antioxidants, right?
Oh yeah.
You just eat all the blueberries all the time. Your entire diet's made up of blueberries. You're a freak. Your skin is turning blue. You can't, Willy Wonka's willing you into the fucking room.
Well, actually, eating blueberries is not the best way to get antioxidants from blueberries because of the sugars.
Right.
Just saying. But, yes, let's say you're taking enough of blueberry extract sugar-free.
Right.
The actual parts that are beneficial, because
like in Gaia.
Not just like in Gaia. Exactly. Like there's certain, anthocyanin, I can't pronounce it, whatever it is. It's the most potent of the antioxidants that you get from blueberries and other berries.
Right.
So, well, anyways, so what happens is if you eliminate all of your antioxidants, then your body actually doesn't respond the way it's supposed to. Kind of like, for example, with wound healing, you need inflammation for your wounds to heal.
Right.
Because then your body's like, oh no, we're in trouble. Let's send all the white, cells there, and let's get all these platelets there. Let's increase the blood flow there. Let's get this whole process rolling so we can get construction going on.
Which, by the way, is sometimes why stuff like ibuprofen or something like that can actually delay wound healing. Because it doesn't. It's like, for example, it's like a fire alarm going off in your house, and you just unplugging the fire alarm, ignoring the fire for a little bit, waiting the longest time to call the fire department, calling them up, going, "Hey guys, there's a fire, help!" And then they send the slowest ambulance. Like that's exactly what taking NSAIDs are. In things like when you have a cut on your finger or something like that. It's unnecessary. So
yes, NSAID is non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs.
There you go. But what they do is they delay the healing process. But anyway, go on.
So if you get rid of your antioxidants just like that, then your body or you get too many antioxidants to get rid of free radicals, and your body doesn't know what to do. It doesn't respond to necessary things that you need for living and cell replication and all of that.
Right.
That's why it's dangerous, because the body likes to be in homeostasis, which means it likes to be the same, which means that there's a balance between, like I like to look at I bring up a lot of times reference the Simpsons episode where they're diagnosing Mr. Burns, who's alive for like who knows how many hundreds of years or whatever.
Of course.
And they say, "Oh, you've got 101 deadly non-curable diseases, but," and they take one away. It's like, "Oh, but if you take one away, you would die because it would disrupt the balance."
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's what would you say would be a healthy level of those things then? Like, how would you go about finding out the right way? Because I feel that along with the fitness industry, there is this, people in the fitness lifestyle have this over-obsession with, some people have over-obsession with eating healthy, and then some people have an consumption of healthy foods. So you have orthorexia, and then you have people that dirty bulk. So, it's the if it fits your macros crowd, which, by the way, let's discuss a little bit more about diet here next. But how would you go about finding the right amount of that?
Sure. And I think it depends upon a lot of factors. So it's not just cookie cutter for everybody, because if you're doing other unhealthy things, then you're going to need more antioxidants. If you're exposed to pollution more than other people, like if you live in Beijing, then you're probably going to need more, antioxidants than.
Or if you're a smoker.
If you're a smoker, I didn't want to call anybody out, but yeah, smoking's like the worst thing you can do to kill yourself. And then alcohol is pretty bad too, really bad. I mean, studies show that, you smoke and drink, and you're like pretty much guaranteed that you're gonna die.
If you're a vegan CrossFitter,
then you're screwed.
Yeah. But yeah, so let's talk a little bit about diet. For example, what's something like? Is there any amount that you can kind of recommend somebody to intake of certain foods that would equate to a much healthier life? I mean,
Well,
like,
definitely.
for example, a cup of blueberries a day,
Yeah.
or something
Yeah.
like this. I'm more of a fan though of changing your diet up, because your body, it will be fine with eating, like, let's just say, for example, 100 grams of spinach a day for the rest of your life. It will be completely fine with it, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to complain. But if you were to have spinach one week and then broccoli the next, you would probably see a much more beneficial effect than if you were to eat 100 grams. Or that's just a bullshit example. Calm down, people. I'm not sitting here going 1 gram of spinach, 2 grams of spinach. So,
but yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the best thing you can do, number one, is increasing your intake of green vegetables.
Right.
I mean, because you can eat a bunch of them, they make you feel full. They don't have an impact on glucose levels the same way that, berries are going to. And there's not really, I would say, a limit, to how much you can eat.
Your stomach will tell you the limit.
Yeah, your stomach will tell you the limit when it comes to vegetables. Now, with
fiber, just
exactly, you're going to be like, oh,
that's interesting.
Collards.
People have too much fiber, and it goes one of two ways. Either everything goes through them, or my favorite, it turns into clay, and you can't shit for a week.
That's no good. And then you do the bricks like this big, and it's
yeah.
Where did that come from? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah. That's no good. So,
but go on.
Another eating, definitely you want to get the antioxidants from your berries, your dark berries, but, I'd still caution people on eating a ton of fruit because of the high fructose and sugars. And even if sugars are natural, they still cause an increase in insulin. Just saying. And too much insulin is a bad thing, because then your body doesn't know what to do, doesn't make enough insulin, or insulin doesn't work how it's used to in the body, and then you have high levels of glucose that float around, and then your blood sugar, your high glucose, then can damage your nerve tissue, all of your other organs, your kidneys, on and on and on and on and on. So definitely supplementing with something like Gaia,
right,
I think is one of the better ways to go. And then just making sure that you eat a lot of healthy fats like eggs, meats, protein, all that stuff. And another cool thing that I like a lot for anti-aging, well, 3 things actually. Okay. So red light therapy, saunas, and cold, like exposing yourself to the cold.
Right.
It's pretty cool stuff.
Now, how would you say somebody would expose themselves to the cold? Now, obviously, this time of year, just step outside. For some people, except for me. It's like 70 here.
No, it's pretty cold. It was definitely below freezing last night.
So how would somebody go? Would you say that contrast showers would be a way that somebody can expose themselves to both heat and cold at the same time, or would you say it had to be colder than that?
Honestly, to get the best benefits, it does need to be colder than that. Like, one of the best things you can do is do it like Brett Favre used to do, was go out in Green Bay in the middle of the winter with snow and run around naked. Like, that's
okay.
People were just like, "Oh,
we endorse you go streaking." And if you're
running.
And if you do, record it, put it on YouTube, and go ahead and share it with us, and do it.
Good. But like doing like a 15-minute kettlebell workout, with 15-degree weather is pretty awesome. And
while naked.
Well, you don't have to be naked. But so by doing that, you actually, number one, are going to reduce inflammation and kind of like with heat shock proteins, get them activated and stuff, which leads to a whole bunch of other health benefits and muscle growth benefits and yada yada yada.
Now, if you guys would like to read up on heat shock protein, I'm going to link some Dr. Rhonda Patrick research so that you guys can go ahead and read up on the benefits of sauna and cold exposure. That way you can have all these things in one place, and she explains it better than Ed or I ever will. So,
yes, she definitely will, because that's her expertise, and that's exactly why saunas work as well too, because of the heat shock proteins. It's like you kind of got to make your body uncomfortable for it to respond in a positive way. Again, respond or react, so that you get the positive health benefits. You know, we're not meant to be sedentary beings. We're not meant to sit down all day and drive everywhere and stuff. We're meant to be out in the wilderness hunting, whether it's in the summer or in the winter, you know, trying to kill our food. That brings me up on another thing too, is I like to do what they call, I don't want to call it scheduled feeding, but more like time restricted feeding. So, you know, fasting is great, and doing it every once in a while is good because it makes your body uncomfortable and it, you know, shocks things up. Right. But, you know, make sure you're only eating, and this is just for everyday use, like people that don't want to do that, make sure you're eating only within a 12-hour window, because that's how our bodies were designed. So, you know, if you eat your last meal at 9 o'clock, then don't eat breakfast until 9 o'clock. For me, I do 8, and then usually longer, like 8, 9, or 10. It just depends on the day. So, but that right there is huge for keeping inflammation down, number one, and then number two, for the vanity aspect of weight loss.
Now let's go back to the infrared real quick.
Yes.
So infrared, what would be the best way somebody to get infrared in? Now I know for 100% fact that, you know, you can get some of the same benefits by going out in the sun every day for an amount of time. Not too much sun though, you know, because skin cancer and all these things can happen. Sunburns are not beneficial.
No. Well,
neither is tanning to an extent.
No. It's not, and it's only a certain time of day. It's actually the best time is during sunsets, and you only get about 5 minutes of exposure to the infrared light, and then on top of that, if it's cloudy, then you're just screwed. You know, the best thing to do is to get like an infrared, you know, light system that doesn't give off EMFs. I definitely know that. Exactly.
You want the ones that give you cancer. Don't worry about it.
Of course.
You want the ones that give you cancer.
You do. Definitely. The one that I think right now has the best technology, ease of use, and definitely probably the most popular is the Juve light for rejuvenation.
Right. Yeah.
But, I mean, I will warn people that the Juve lights, they're not cheap. They have payment plans and stuff, but they are still not cheap. They are not.
And if you're a cheap bastard like I am, then you'll probably end up searching for somewhere where you can get a tan, or certain gyms or something like that, some health club. That way you can use their facilities, you know, because that's something people don't, you know, we broadcast to a very specific audience of people who are already signed up to a gym, who have memberships. But I feel like nobody fully utilizes their gym membership when it comes to what they're actually paying for. For example, if you go to Planet Fitness, of all places, right? Great amenities, right? Even free pizza. But do you see any people using the tanning beds or anything like that? No. Something I would think that would be beneficial is go ahead and cover yourself up, right? Like fucking put on a shirt that doesn't show much, and then like stealthily go into a Planet Fitness, pay the $10 a month to use their amenities, because they do actually have good amenities. See, you can cheat the system.
That's a good idea. That's really good.
Don't use their weights.
No. They'll get mad at you for that.
But you can do that just to use their amenities, which is something I know some competitors do. I don't personally do that because my gym is all inclusive. It has a dry sauna, a wet sauna, showers, everything that you need, right, all in one place. I will say that I would still like people to get at least 10 to 30 minutes of sun exposure a day.
Yes.
Only
Yes.
because it is beneficial. You will get a little bit darker skin pigments now. I know
Vitamin
I'm not
D.
one to talk,
No.
but you also get vitamin D and all the benefits that go along with that.
Ooh, another
Go
cool
ahead.
thing, vitamin K2.
Yep. Yep. Which, by the way, is found in what?
Gaia.
There you go. Also, something else you guys can do, specifically diet related, is so have meat every day.
Yep.
That is something we're a big proponent of. You have a bunch
Yep.
of vitamins, you have a bunch of nutrients in there. You
Yep.
also have the iron from meat sources, which are going to be a lot more bioavailable than
Yep.
things in fruit or
Red meat.
green vegetables or something like that. It's
Red meat.
also red meat. Well, also
Creatine.
pork. Pork is red meat, but people don't often classify pork as
No.
red meat. They say red meat, pork, chicken, right? Which it is red meat.
Yes.
But that's why I'm in love with these $10 pork loins that you can buy at Walmart or Sam's Club that just come in logs that are gigantic. And
That's
they
huge.
last me for a shit ton of time, and you can cook them, have them fresh. I will say that, having meat, some sort of green vegetable, some sort of fruit every day. Now, he likes the dark berries. I am actually, I know Jamie is not a big fan of bananas, but I love bananas. I
Yes, he
also
is.
love... We're not going to edit that out. So, if he watches this, we're dead.
We are dead. I love you,
Okay.
Jamie.
Let's
I love you, Jamie.
reel it back. God damn it. You fucked it up.
I
Okay.
did.
So, and now I can't even say fruits after that. You've ruined this conversation.
That's what I. Man, have you seen Top Gun? No.
I'm gonna just move on.
Well, there's a scene where
so
they're playing
nuts.
volleyball.
Wait a minute.
There's a volleyball scene, and you just you gave me the perfect setup, and it was. I mean, it was. You can't make this stuff up.
So fish is another good option.
Fish is great. Yes.
No, go
Octopus.
ahead, laugh. You're already laughing in the middle of a podcast. My wife is sitting over here laughing her ass off for no reason. She should
That's
be
amazing.
publicly shamed.
No, she's awesome.
You said nuts.
It always comes back to being in high school. Anyway,
Why not? It always does.
So,
It
back
definitely
onto
does.
the diet, sir. So, for your carb sources, something
Yes.
like beans are perfect carb sources in my book. Beans or right. You're still holding back laughter, and it's
hey.
not fair.
Hey, Bryce.
What?
You know what they say? They say that beans are good for the heart
Why am I laughing at that?
because the more you eat, the more you fart.
Okay, now that we've gone to fart level of humor, let's
Why not,
reel it
dude?
back. Also, something I did want to discuss with you, because you're how old?
I am 39. I'm old.
Oh, man! Look at here. We actually had a request, which kind of ties in perfect to this, to cover how somebody would start training at 40.
Ooh, because I'll be 40 in February.
Right.
And that will... I'm coming up on 23 years of, continuous weight training. Not just messing around, and not even including push-ups and pull-ups before that.
Right,
but 23 years of slinging the iron around. Brother.
Slinging the iron.
Dude, that was you. That was all you. I had nothing to do with that one. Nothing.
I have no composure now.
I know, I ruined it. It's fantastic.
Let's just get it out of the way. Dicks. Now we're officially a top level podcast because all we talk about is dick, and we always call each other as gay. Ed, you're gay, even though you're married. See, there's a recipe for a perfect podcast right there.
Perfect.
Talk about
Dude.
Dicks and call each other gay. It's fine.
This is the best podcast we've ever done.
God damn it! If this gets a lot of likes, I'm gonna feel really bad. I'm also gonna feel good. Hey, speaking of feeling good, if you subscribe, I'll feel better. So, training when you're 40. What are the things that we should be doing, we should be looking out for when we turn 40?
Sure.
Because that seems to be the magic number that you see a lot of these people, these fitness personalities and everything, kind of say, training over 40, doing this over 40, this over 40.
Yes.
So what seems to change for people?
The time it takes to recover is the number one thing. You're still going to have your strength and you're still going to build muscle, but the number one thing that I've found among all bodybuilders, trainers, lifters, power lifters, whatever it is, over 40, is they've gotten better results when they've actually reduced their training.
Right.
So, I've got the one guy I know who just won several.
We're going to have him on the podcast.
Yes, he's fantastic. So, he actually only trains 3 times a week, and you're kind of asking yourself, well, how can you do that with all these big lifts and everything? Well,
there's 3 of them.
You know how people are, man. But anyways, they're all
go ahead.
3, man.
There's 3 of them.
Yeah,
3 days. 3.
Yeah, but the problem is that when you do like a deadlift and a squat, they both tax a lot of the same muscle groups. So you kind of need a little bit of something different. Whereas what they do, his group of people that he trains with, they do deadlifts first and then squats immediately afterwards. And that's working really well for them.
Right.
Obviously. He is a world record holder.
Hell yeah.
Masters. Yeah.
How would you go about programming for somebody? Because everybody's obsessed with programming right now. Which hey, if you are a person like me, so you don't need programming, right? To build muscle and lose weight and all this stuff.
Nope.
I just find it helpful for me to have a vague outline of things because I seem to have so much gym ADHD or ADD I have certain goals that are conflict with others, and if I keep myself on track with something written down, I'm more likely to stick to it, which is
you ready for
your basic principles for everything.
You ready for it?
Go ahead.
Okay, so you center everything around the 3 basic, big lifts.
Right.
You do deadlifts on Monday, bench press on Wednesday, squats on Friday, and you have 2 days of rest in between your squat and your deadlift. That's it. And then you build in extra, exercises around that depending upon the day. Like I would probably do, with my squat day, I would do something that's easy in a smaller muscle group.
Right.
Like definitely, bis and tris and forearms. I would say definitely for deadlifts, you're probably going to do more, back stuff, but I would try to incorporate like rear delt and trap work to keep the shoulder blades, back. And then on like chest day, I would probably incorporate, maybe some shoulder presses if you want to do them, or, whatever it may be. And then maybe just one exercise or so to kind of keep your shoulder blades, back as well too. Like, upright rows or something like that.
Now, is there something specifically that you would train, really concentrate on because you're over 40? Because it seems to be, that seems to be a barrier that people seem to kind of put. Like, just like I was saying, training over 40, this over 40, that over 40. So, was there anything that you would specifically look out for to train when you're over 40?
And you mean like specific exercise or specific like body part, or what are you looking for?
Well, we can do both of those. So what is
Okay.
something specifically that you would look out for when it comes to body parts? What would you concentrate
Sure.
on?
For the body parts, I would try to concentrate on the posterior chain. That's
Right.
going to be your most important thing. That's why you do deadlifts and squats, and then you do bench only once a week, because if your posterior chain is strong, which is all the way from here all the way down to the back of your ankles, Achilles, and all that stuff, then you're going to have better posture in everything you do. And then, of course, ab work is definitely important as well too. Not for vanity, but more for support. And I honestly prefer to work lower abs more than I do your upper abs, because those are
Right.
the ones that tend to get weaker when it comes to the pelvic girdle and all that stuff.
Right.
Yes. Good
Would
job.
what would you say would be an exercise that would be invaluable for people who are over 40?
Well, dude, I mean, squats and deadlifts are like, they're hard to beat, because they work the whole, with done correctly with the right form, they work the whole entire posterior chain. I also like um, overhead squats
Right.
for basically increasing flexibility in your arms and shoulders and ankles.
Right.
Those are, you can't use much weight at all. You don't really need to. Good mornings are also fantastic. Lightweight, good mornings. And then hamstring work, because that's probably the most neglected body part that there is your hamstrings. And it leads to a lot of knee issues. And just because people are stronger in their quads, hamstrings aren't strong enough.
I will say that I have a little bit of something to add to that. So something that I've noticed with people is they don't do any lunges, right? So
I love lunges.
they do absolutely no lunges when they're younger.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden they have a hiccup in either their abductor or adductor, because the unilateral strength and the, I guess I hate this term, but functional
Yeah.
strength of lunges, the way that it challenges your body, is kind of missing for early years of their training. So whenever they get to about 3 to 5 years into their training, they tend to have IT band issues, and it has to
Yeah.
do with an overcompensation
Yep.
between having weak abductors or adductors for your hip, because something that is not really went over is you have all this concentration on squats, right? So
Mhm.
you do squats or you do leg presses, right?
Mhm.
Well, your body gets very used to that. It gets very used to your squat setup. You tend to set up in near the same way every time. You tend to hit the same muscle groups the same way from the same angles every time. And you end up overutilizing the hamstring or leg curl machines, what have you, right? And then all of a sudden, you start to have this stabbing knee pain over on the side of your knee, or on the inside of your knee, right? And you'll
Mhm.
notice that if your legs splay way out, or they cave in, it's one of those two things, right?
Yep.
And eventually, over time, just like with my squat stance, because I can't do lunges because I have coaxial pain, right?
Ooh.
I have coaxial pain from me jumping into a pool I did a cannonball when I was bigger. I hit my tailbone, and I've had a little bit of pain there ever since then, doing stuff like lunges and stuff. So I actually have to do
Not cool.
abductor and adductor work,
Yeah.
which is, I know it's going to sound stupid, but
No
getting on
yes
that
machine.
machine,
No
huh?
yes machine.
What?
The no yes machine.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
I know what you're
know?
talking about. Yeah. Spread your legs out, spread your legs
Yes.
in.
Yes. No.
Yeah.
No.
So I tend to need to do that in order to correct some of the imbalances that I'm experiencing right now. Also, I made some early training mistakes, which was concentrating, which were concentrating on the same movements, doing the same thing every day for an extended period of time. Now I'm all about their variation.
Yes.
So if you are over 40, take these things into account, because I'm only 28. I'm experiencing issues from them now. Also, when I was younger, I did not do enough rear delt work. I had shoulder issues. Now they're gone.
Yep.
But I would also suggest doing that. I would also suggest whenever you do stuff like pull-ups, or if you do stuff like curls, do not let your forearms take over or compensate for the what's that?
Don't hold like this. Hold like this.
Right.
Or because when you hold like that, you mess up right here.
Because what will happen? What will happen is you will
right there.
Yeah. You will compensate by curling your wrist in on the top of a pull-up or on the top of a row or something like that. And what that will end up doing is that will cause eventually tricep tendonitis on the inside of your elbow. And tendonitis for somebody over 40 is usually the bullet that ends their lifting career.
Terrible.
So those are my little bits of advice. I would also incorporate the big three as my kind of base. I would even go big four. I would say overhead press, some sort of overhead pressing movement.
Standing overhead press.
Right. That would allow you to use your shoulders in a way to hold something over your head, because people, as they get older, they tend to get some rotator cuff issues.
Yes,
right?
Especially if they fall down and their shoulder goes forward, then it's like, ugh. And then
it's not. Go ahead. And it's not usually from in the gym. It's usually from something stupid outside. Like, for example, holding a drill above your head to screw something in and then hearing a click. Like, there's your rotator cuff.
Yep. And then if that happens, because rotator cuff is just a group of little tiny muscles, then if you don't move it because it hurts, and then you can actually lock up your shoulder.
Yeesh. But that's something I just don't wish on anybody. And people who are younger, who do not overhead press or do not hold things over their head, and it's an old school strongman thing, holding things over your head, pushing things up above your head. But it does have its uses later in life, and I think that it'll lead to a lot less injuries, specifically when it comes to anti-aging, than people realize. So, but that, and I think that people don't realize that in order to bulge a disc, you need to actually tilt forward. You can't bulge a disc by tilting back.
Doesn't work that way. Yeah.
So people end up doing way too much fucking ab work early and doing it with poor form and stuff like that. And they end up having bulged disc or herniated disc later in life because they ended up doing abs every day along with heavy deadlifts twice a week, which has you bending at the waist, along with squats, which good morning squatting and then doing good mornings on top of that. And it's a lot of forward bending that you're just putting unnecessary strain on your disc. So I would like to see everybody do, for anti-aging purposes, everybody do some sort of reverse hyper or hyperextension or something like that has you go that way.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think we'll let you go now. This has been an awesome anti-aging discussion. We've pretty much covered everything you should do. To clarify, something we did not cover, sleep. Make sure you get 6 to 8 hours of sleep. If you do not get 6 to 8 hours of sleep, if you do not get the amount of sleep that you need in order to recover from the things that you did, or in order to have the healing process start, you will age much, much faster.
Much faster.
And not only that, but your performance on a daily basis will be hindered to almost that of a drunk. Do not do that.
Nope.
I think also we've hit a new landmark. this has been the most immature podcast we have ever recorded.
I'm glad. We needed it.
And we've done it. I think we've peaked.
It was fantastic.
Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, you know what to do. If you didn't like this video, why? And if you didn't subscribe, you need to hit that pillow, which hitting that pillow, actually clicking that pillow does nothing. I will install a button there here pretty soon, so that all you have to do to subscribe is hit that pillow. But in the meantime, go to the little subscribe button. Make sure you have the bell on so that you're notified of our post every time a new Hatecast goes up. And don't forget to check out Gaia, because it is a baller anti-aging supplement, as well as Carnage, which we didn't even go into.
And Predator. We'll do another one about those two, about glucose disposal agents.
Right. In another episode. But for right now, guys, this has been another successful Hatecast. We will see you in the next one! Yelling!
Yes!
Conan, what is best in life? Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and you hear the lamentation of your women. That is good.
Too many thoughts on my mind, I can't sleep at night, so I just keep writing. I don't need no help, I don't need opinions, so don't waste my time then. I just been living online, my city don't show me no love, and that's fine. Fuck local radio stations, I got more plays than all of these rappers combined. I'm going again, I've been going in, I'm fed up with so many things, I gotta just let it all out. I'm talking about the shit they've been talking about, telling me I should do this, telling me I should do that, telling me things about rap, talking the truth and that stab in my back, they will knock me off track. No, too many things have been building, been hard to deal with, I just been drinking. Remember my moves in the past, I'm wondering what was I thinking. Lately I'm living in fear, wondering what if the end is so near. All of this shit going on, the shootings are strong, one shot to the head and I'm gone. I'm losing control but I can't let it go, cause I'm trying to get more. And I've been in the moment, I've been in the zone, and I'm moving alone. I don't pick up the phone when my family call, I've been doing it wrong and I don't know what's happening. Trying to get what I just been imagining, getting close and I just been examining all of the fake shit the game has been packaging.
My Lord pleases you, Crom, so grant me one request. Grant me revenge. And if you do not listen, then the hell with you.
I come from a town where most of the people are so close-minded. They go into school and they work in a job, but they don't even like it. I won't be put in a box, nobody telling me what I should rock, nobody telling me what I should drop, cause I do what I want and just know I don't stop. Recording till 4 in the morning, they snoring, I'm pouring my soul into every story. I'm writing, producing, I mix it, I master, I'm building my craft, and I'm not looking back. I've been going doing things I wanna do when I want to. Everybody wanna get a win, but they not do. Everybody wanna copy you, but they not you. Everybody wanna be cool, but they not new. Whoa, look how I go, gonna be a dentist, I still got the flow. Never gonna lose cause I'm still doing both. Never gonna lose cause I've been on the road. Come to your state and I'm killing the show. Know that I'm young and I still gotta grow. Know that I'm working the most, know I'm never gonna choke, and I'm looking back down on the people below.
I've been keeping real, I've been doing what I feel, I've been out here trying to kill it.